how would this X product work for people under 30 can be resolved probably in a matter of 2 hours.
Can you guess at which hour and what day people block their debit cards the most?
I have no idea.
So it's Friday midnight, right?
AI killed agile, AI killed product management, AI killed engineering. Move fast, break things is not a way to go, if it ever was.
Today, I welcome two guests from Česká spořitelna, the biggest bank in Czechia for our international audience. We call it Spořka here in Czechia, who will tell us about how they are adopting AI in the product management and discovery part, and also in the banking operations. So I welcome Ines Bamburač-Alibašić. First take, yes. The head of product. Welcome. And Michal Kraus, who is leading the AI transformation. Can I say in the operations part of the bank?
I would rather say in general.
In general, okay. Yeah. All of it. Okay. So welcome. So let's start with some small achievement with introducing AI anywhere in the bank for the past weeks that surprised you positively.
You want to start?
Sure, I can. So I think the one thing to mention would be that we have implemented in our voice bot solution, and it was towards the very obvious the business problem, and it was that almost 60% of calls from our clients towards our advisors at the branches were unanswered on the first time because they were having meeting or they were working on something. So what we have done is that we implemented AI bot there that picks up the phone after the 4 dial and says, look, your advisor doesn't have a time at the moment. I can tell the advisor to call you back, one thing, or I can plan you the meeting according your and his calendar, and it works fantastic. So I'm really happy about it.
So people happy that they hear
people are actually okay because they hate more not to get answered.
No answer at all.
Not to get answered at all. So they're quite fine with that.
Okay, excellent. So how does AI help you in product management and product discovery in general? What have you adopted, tried, experimented with so far?
Yeah. So we are still fairly, I think, early. We had a couple of interesting experiments and POCs, and we are now starting to build something more kind of like enterprise grade. But essentially where we started from was that with the development of different skills, tools on different models, it looks like that the job of the product manager, the job of the designer can be significantly improved if they use a proper set of skills. And most of the individual people do it, right? So I need to write my product definition. I probably kind of work with either at least with the chatbot, if not with some skill. If I need to kind of like run a customer research, I probably try to work out my interview guide through the at least again chatbot. But essentially what we learned is where we started from is we said, okay, but this is just so random and individual to people. And then every single person needs to rediscover that they can do this. So what we tried is end-to-end workflow, which starts from the brief and ends with essentially handing over to engineering for the full build, including a prototype, specification, everything, right? And it kind of how does it work? And this is what we are trying to connect. So we're trying to build a set of different agents and workflows connected between each other in order to form the end-to-end process. And this is what we are trying to do.
So can you name the steps that take place in this process, and which of them are like mostly unchanged and which of them are aided by chatbot or Gen AI?
So I think the steps, how we are looking at them now, is customer research, market research, ideation, scoring of different ideas according to some scoring method, whichever one you choose, specifying this particular idea in a way what it would be full scope versus MVP versus second increment, third increment, and so on. What would be the pieces to build it? Prototyping it doing kind of like quite a lot of work around the prototype, stepping away from Figma and going into really coding it, right? Then out of the prototype, producing a very detailed kind of specification and documentation, which can be committed to the engineering environments, out of which the engineering agents for coding, analysis, tests can pick it up and start working with that as a context. So that's sort of like a set of agents or workflows that we are looking into.
So which of these steps the agent stepped in? Where did you see the biggest?
So we had a POC, for example, for synthetic personas. So for the customer research, where we said, okay, today if a product manager needs to do and a designer needs to do a research, what they have to do is they write the brief, they call an agency or do it themselves, develop a questionnaire, recruit the people, write the report, kind of take out the insights from the report. All of this.
It's a lot of work.
Depending on how you want to do it, it can take anywhere from like 3 weeks to 3 months, right? And what we said, okay, but we have all the customers, we know our customer base, we have the data, we have done these researches a million times. So what if we would build a synthetic persona panel that we can actually acquire for simpler research in order to inform our product decisions? So we connected it to the data that we already have, the researches that we already have. We built a POC out of which essentially you give, like a product manager can write a set of like a brief, a question. The synthetic personas are created on the go out of the data sets that exists, and then you can start acquiring and researching with these synthetic personas. This means that essentially, how would, question like, how would this X product work for people under 30 can be resolved probably in a matter of 2 hours in a simple kind of like Q&A with this agent. And this is what we POC'd, and this is something that seems to work really nice and well. So now we're like, the team is, I think, kind of like getting to the point where they really want to scale it.
So that's huge savings from months or weeks to hours. What's the downside? What are you losing by talking to synthetic personas?
So we are,
what are you afraid to lose?
So of course the always the question is like, do you have a case of real insight, or do you have some sort of a hallucination out of the data and what is happening? So every single run of this research that is now being tested in POC is compared to the classical traditional research data, and we're trying to compare the outputs and outcomes, and we're hitting somewhere, I think, around worst case scenario 75% accuracy if it's with the market-wide data. If it's for only our customers, we are able to reach 90% of accuracy, which is fairly good. So that means that essentially we can be much faster. We just need to make sure that we build into the whole process continuous checking. And then, of course, still there is a space that is left. You build something, you come to a certain point, but then you really want to test it with people. Then you still go out and do it with real people. This is not disappearing completely, but it's kind of like not early. It's not 3 months. It's maybe one focus group at some point in time, just to kind of double check the solution that you came up with and say, okay, yeah, nothing, red flag, no red flag here.
So if you can deliver something 3 months sooner, you can be 25% wrong, right? Because you can iterate
roughly
throughout the time with real people.
Yes.
So by 75% accuracy, measuring by like the same answers or same decisions made from the interviews.
Yes. Because we asked, we asked probably a customer, how do you perceive, what is the most important thing for you in a mortgage, right? Is it the price or the time to approval or what it is? We probably asked it in a past. We know roughly what the answers were for the past years. So now when we ask it, we can compare a similar kind of finding when it comes up as an insight from a synthetic persona. And we know whether it's aligned with what we heard before or not, and it can be compared.
Yeah, and I think it's a great story that Ines has, and it might lead to different things. Not to look at it just from the perspective of saving time or saving capital expenditures that we pay to the agencies, but we can actually run more interviews or more tests and get more feedback from the clients before we get in a past. Because typically in Q4, when you want to run the big test, there is like no budget anymore, so you cannot believe your feelings. So I think it will actually the biggest impact that it will whatever we produce for our clients will be properly tested.
Yes,
I think that's the biggest up.
Yes, you can do more iterations with real people.
And it's not just a good point is just to understand. This is not just, for example, for product management, right? For building products, it's very well. Like today, actually, where the POCs was tested mostly on product communication, right? So what kind of like communication should we be sharing with our customers so that it's understandable, clear, and these kind of things, and it significantly improves the outcomes that we see with the customers, right?
So other than synthetic panels and persona, any other interesting POC or experiment in the era of product discovery?
So I'm our engineers have been, or our analysts have been kind of experimenting quite a lot with like how to have a AI empowered analysis and what you can do there. And we still haven't started. They done some POCs, but the next thing that I really want to try, we really want to try to work with them is how could we have a solid level of specification and the requirements pulled out directly from the prototypes. So instead of people sitting and imagining something and thinking about it, actually you go first, you build it. And then out of that build, you build an agent that it has enough context of our environment to say, okay, this is the requirements. These are the bits and pieces that need to be there. I'm very curious to see that one. I've seen it working on something which is outside of the bank. Like we've seen tools, we tested tools. They work really nice. Now we want to see how can we replicate this internally and can we build enough context for this kind of specification agent to be able to really pull out meaningful information with which then analysts can start, not start from the blank piece of paper, but essentially start from the building blocks and then add value where really their experience matters instead of, starting from like scratch. And repeating one and the same thing a lot of times.
And are engineers pulled into this process, or is the goal to hand them over the specification that is the result of the whole thing?
So,
or how much are they, if at all, involved in this?
So we believe that very soon, when I say very soon, probably a year or two.
Very soon in banking terms.
Yeah. Yes. Everybody's going to be somehow pulled into this by the simply because the whole process is going to take 5 days. It's going to be handled by a team which is some combination of product design, engineering skills. I'm not talking about people anymore. I'm talking about skills. I think product people will probably become more technical. Designers are going to probably slowly evolve towards coding and building rather than designing in Figma. Engineers will start actually kind of having a proper context and understanding product requirements. Why are we building? Who's our customer? Why is this here? So because this is going to be part of their context. This is where their agents are going to be starting from. So I think all of this comes together eventually. And I think there is a kind of like merging of the roles and the process generally stays. Does it completely diminish the three different kind of crafts? I don't believe so. At least not in a banking context. I don't believe that we're going to see what Americans are telling us today. There's a business person and then a business person codes the next, mortgage. It's not going to happen in a bank. I don't think so. And I also don't think that it's the smartest thing to say, okay, we're going to now let engineers decide the why and the business case behind what we build, because I think you would first kind of like make them miserable and you would be forcing people who are something else to do something that they are not interested in. So I think these things all these professions are going to still coexist, but I think all of them are going to evolve, and the process, how they work together, is going to evolve significantly.
Yes, this is what I've been hearing here from others as well. I even see on the market that a new role, a product engineer, is gradually being introduced.
Okay.
And as someone from the Agile community, somehow bittersweet for me. Yeah, what I've been advocating for the entire career. Yeah, developers being interested in the product and talking to customers. Now seems they have no more excuses to do so. So, how is AI helping in the other parts of bank outside of engineering and product development?
Look, I think there are three big domains where we are working with AI, almost every day, or there are teams that work every day. One part that is accelerating and I really enjoy is, and I'm not saying is because Ines sits next to me, but I'm a really huge fan of this product design. So we kind of invest a lot of intelligence, hopefully also money, to use AI where the product is designed and where the product is built. So I see this one and what you have guys discussed as the first domain. The second big domain is, and I think it is the oldest in Czechia, it's around customer-facing solutions. So we have two big kind of scaled. The one is Hey George. It was the first LLM bot in banking environment, at least in Central Europe, as far as I know. We have it deployed to 2 million customers. So it's kind of big. The second is VoiceBot. So it handles 30% of calls end to end. It touches client every time. It does the verification. So it's a big domain. And the third one is oriented a lot to customer processes. We are a bank, so we get a lot of PDFs. We get a lot of papers. AI is great and mining the data, some reasoning and using it in a process. So these, I would say, are the three core domains with measurable impact or outcome that we finance or we focus on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I believe in improving such processes is maybe easier to measure the return of investment, right?
Yes, it's definitely like there is a time, there is a people involved. There is a quality of output, so you can measure it like very very hardly, very strictly.
So when we were prepping for this podcast, you said that you already improved 60 different processes.
Uh-huh.
Can you give some examples of the, let's say, more surprising improvements
around the processes? Look, I think So we focus a lot on the documentation. So almost every documentation that comes from the third party to Czechia is now mined with AI. There's a reasoning that data are put in a process. So I think it's a lot about the speed. And the funny part comes now because we are getting more advanced. I think this is like the obvious use case for almost any enterprise in Czech, and is to how to add another agent behind the first agent who mined the data, how to change the process from the AI first perspective. And I think since we managed the first step around the mining, we are getting already to the second stop that will be much harder, because there it's not only about the technology, it's not only about the tokens burned behind, it's also about the imagination and also the culture, something that we are also facing in product design. So how we can reimagine the processes that should be built differently from the scratch. That's the domain that we are kind of in. We are discussing quite a lot. It's really funny because no one really knows. And no one has done it.
Do you have some example or maybe some candidate of process that you want to like redo from scratch?
Look, we are right now discussing a lot about the mortgage. So I don't know if you own the mortgage, but that's
that was the most horrendous banking process ever.
It's everywhere. Yeah. It's not everywhere. It's not great. I think we are investing a lot in customer experience, and AI is the great thing where we can really speed up the stuff. We don't. There is a lot of documents. There is a lot of questions around it, and I think the lot of questions can be answered from the documents. Documents can be sent once. There must not be such a delays and so on. So I think this is the area where we really want to improve the customer experience, because daily banking is kind of solved. You send cards, you open an account online. Cash loan is quite easy. Mortgage is a huge product. I think that AI can improve.
Yes. Sad it didn't come 10 years ago when I was applying for mortgage.
Well, you can always take new one. Happy to help.
Thank you. I don't plan any more kids. When you were introducing VoiceBot, do you measure how often people say, I want to talk to a real person?
Yes. And we did it in a way. So maybe let's start with VoiceBot, how it started. It was around the COVID when the idea came up, because some branches, majority of branches were closed. So that there was an increase in incoming calls. So that was the idea, and we kind of found out quite fast. Pardon me, that clients don't enjoy or they don't prefer. Let's put it this way, talking to VoiceBot. So what we have implemented as one of the first, I believe, at least from my experience, is that whenever you say, I want to talk to a human being, or even I didn't understand you, or you don't understand me, or any kind of complaint, we hand over you to a human directly. Immediately. So we don't keep you in a loop when the client keeps frustrated. But and the first use case we've done, you need to verify somehow the client when they call to call center. So you can provide a service, you can provide the information. Every client has to go through. So that was the first use case. So the VoiceBot asks you, like, when were you born? Can you approve? Blah blah blah. This experience that we all enjoyed, and then you were transferred to a human right away. Now we are adding the services like, can you guess at which hour and what day in a week people block their debit cards the most?
I have no idea.
So it's Friday midnight, right?
Friday midnight.
Or Saturday midnight is the second most often. So, and you don't want to have there at the job like 30 people blocking the cards, right? So you can really use the technology. It's quite simple use case. So we were adding services like this. Yeah.
What's the explanation that people?
Well, people are out in a city, they are drinking, and they are losing wallets. So it's
Friday night. Yeah.
It's very simple. Yeah.
And they probably don't want to talk to a live person.
Yeah, exactly.
They just want to block the card and move on and go to sleep.
Yes. Can I talk to the robot?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
It's embarrassing.
Not the judgmental voice on the other side who's gonna.
But even though you can block very easily your card in an app, when you get into stress situation, you want to manage it also via your voice. So so that was a great success around it. And now we are transforming it from, let's say, the rule base. So we build it on a Watson, the IBM technology, the classic NLP and so on. And we are transforming the scenarios into LLM. So we understand the clients even better. We use speech-to-speech models. So also the answer is way faster. So we want to improve that service. Definitely.
So what happens to the operators in the call centers then? Yeah. Once more and more use cases will be.
Yeah, I think that's the great story. So we are transforming these colleagues who were blocking the cards and telling people if their salary came or what is their account balance to advisory roles. We provide remote advisory. So your banker can actually sit in Prostějov and you can talk to the banker anytime you want through the George. So we take the operators, we upskill them, we let them having the licenses from the Czech National Bank, and they are starting providing the advisory. Actually, the Česká distribution is split into 6 regions. At the head of call center, our colleague Nikos, he's starting talking about the call center as the 7th region of Česká. So I think that's very nice story how the technology helps to create more value for clients.
And have the people do something maybe more interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Than blocking cards to drunk people Friday midnight. So, the overall sentiment about AI for years is it will replacing people. However, now the sentiment is a bit reversing from what I see. Sam Altman already apologized for, and also Dario Amodei. I guess it has something to do with the IPOs they plan. What's your take on this? What's your take on this of AI replacing people?
Ines.
What are you allowed to say?
I personally, will something change? Of course it will. And I think it changed with COVID. I think it changed with, whatever, different things are happening. So, as I said, the jobs will evolve. What we do will evolve. That AI is simply replacing people, I just don't see it as a long-term problem. And I think I hear it quite a lot, quite radical, even in Czech Republic. There are some prominent people who are kind of like, we don't need people for this, we don't need people for that. And they're kind of forgetting to actually take into consideration the other part of the story. Okay, but where do you need people? Because we are living for years with a shortage of people in the right places. We all want to do more than we can today. Yeah. We all have lack of resources to take more on. We all want to grow our companies, but we can because we don't have it. So I honestly think that this is not gonna, there will be an evolution of jobs. There will be changes. So people don't like changes. So yes, for some people it's going to be difficult. But I don't think AI is here to take the jobs. I think it's just here to do exactly what we did with our colleagues at the call center, like give them a chance to do something. And yes, some of the people will take it, some of the people won't. How do we as leaders talk to our people to kind of create enough trust in what we are doing so that they follow us, so that they trust the journey ahead? That's, I think, a solid test of leadership for any one of us these days, But I'm firmly on a positive side that this will actually give people more chances to do more interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm positive too, but maybe also maybe from the different perspective. I don't know, and I stopped guessing how it influenced the market in a short term. In the long term, I'm strongly positive that the jobs will be replaced by a new job and new work. So that I think that's for sure. But on a short term, what I think there is tons of opportunities, and I think people who are curious, motivated, and so on, they after some time they have a great opportunity to really increase their career. It doesn't matter if it's in a corporation like Spořka or in an entrepreneurship. I think people. I think only one thing is inevitable. Like AI is here and will stay here. It's like too much sexy to throw it away. But I see a lot of. I would love to see more and more like motivated people who are touching the technology, using it, adopting new mindset, like we have discussed. And I think these colleagues will always, have the great job, well paid.
There's one thing that worries me though, which is when I recently had a conversation with a child, like a teenage girl, who was very negative about it. And, AI is going to destroy our world and whatnot. And this is, I think, what worries me, that a natural tendency of us grown-ups to declare end of the world every couple of months because of something else, and everything is negative, and then we're just going to try to deny it.
It sells newspapers.
That we are kind of like, and I think this is particularly European thing. Let me not even say like Central European thing. Where I think we're robbing our children and our youth of a chance to be excited to try something new. At the same time, we've been recently in a conference in Boston where all the big companies were saying one thing: we are hiring left and right young people. Why? Because they're already AI native. And I think that this difference between like, somebody in Boston saying I'm hiring somebody out of college or university and it's AI native generation, and us here kind of like telling our children that this is going to somehow destroy the society we know, is, I think we're doing ourselves disservice about that. Because it's,
Yeah, I gotta confirm that. Thank you for saying that. Because no, really, if you want an AI first mindset, you either change the culture, run through leadership, take some time, or at least my last 2 hires were young people right after the university. Their university was about all about AI, so it got really native, and they are great. Just they are actually the ready people for the change. So thank you for saying that, because I believe that.
Yeah, this is very different than the mainstream of not hiring juniors because AI will do their job cheaper. So I'm happy to hear that as well.
It turns around. I think we saw it in US. There was this argument in US. It was particularly prominent about junior engineers, I think. Kind of, we don't need them. And junior analysts in consulting, right? We don't need them. We forgot that we don't get seniors without juniors. So that mathematics is Sam Altman now pedaling back from, I think. But there is really the contrary argument to that now, which is like, no, they're AI native. And actually, it's much more difficult to work with people of our age. Yeah. Because we're set in our own ways more than this young generation. And critical thinking is really critical skill, even in the workplace. So, for example, what I was saying about like all these agents that we are testing and kind of trying to do in a bank for the product managers, a lot of these tests we have done produced quite a lot of content, right? So your research agent produces a lot of content, and how you engage with this content and what do you do about it? And how do you actually summarize and understand, just read and then summarize for yourself and understand, is an absolutely critical skill that is not going away. No, on contrary, is becoming even more important than it was 3 years ago. Because 3 years ago, I would call an agency, give it an agency. The agency would deliver me a PowerPoint deck. I would read through it. Would I need to do something about it? No, because it was Ipsos behind it, right? Why would I need to do something about it? Now suddenly I'm a product manager who got something from an agent, and I need to make a judgment about of this thing. I'm going to trust it. Is it good? Which insights do I take? Do I check it one more time? It requires more critical thinking. And this is where we, I think, need to encourage people to learn more while giving up the routine task of talking to 20 customers, and running one and the same interview, which is not that valuable.
Yes.
I think it's about, look, I don't have the superb strategy that I could share and everyone could implement it. I think it will be about searching the jobs or activities where your brain is activated and your brain works, because no one loves, almost nobody loves repetitive tasks. Almost no one loves reading AI slop. But I think maybe Ines, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you share the experience from this agentic PDE, as I call it, there was a great, I think, insight from the time spent perspective, because I think you were saying that in a 5 days or something, we were able to create something that are taking us months or 2. But the interesting thing is like how we spend the 5 days. And I think like the first half or at least 3 days were devoted just to brainstorming without the technology and deep diving the insight or the system prompt that we start within. And so I don't want to take your experience, but I think this is the great example where we want to shift it or where we see it at the moment.
Which is again coming back probably to your long-term kind of like advocacy. Let's talk more about the problems, the insights, and spending more time on this side than actually building the product. And I think this is what we saw shifting already now when we tested some of the tools. We spend more time thinking about what are we going to build than we spend time of building that prototype. And choosing this, I had another interesting conversation with our engineering teams and colleagues who said, if we implement well these coding agents, we're all ending up in code review endlessly.
They will, yes.
And we need
for a moment.
And we need to start kind of thinking about how do we deal with that. And they're searching now for the right answers. Because yes, most of the most talented engineers also kind of probably don't want to do code review 100% of time, or if it needs to be done, maybe there is maybe we need to rethink how we do it. But that is the reality, and I think that the same thing is for designers, product management, anybody. Kind of like how are they going to do it really?
I think this will be the next challenge, to fight the reluctance to read the stuff that was being generated, whether it's a summary from a research of customers, whether it's a market research, whether it's a system analysis or code. In a previous episode, there was a VP of engineering from Rohlík, and they are at this stage currently. Like most of the code is already being written by AI. Most of the code is being reviewed by AI, and the people are reviewing the review, and it's becoming the bottleneck. And in the next episode, I will be hearing the same with the next guest. I already know. Yes. So, you said that thanks to AI, you can iterate much quicker. The iteration is the heart of working better with our customers, with our users. But the whole LinkedIn feed is finally agile is dead. What's your take on this? AI killed agile, I keep hearing.
Yeah. AI killed agile, AI killed product management, AI killed engineering,
leadership.
AI killed leadership. AI killed if agile was about writing documentation, which is mostly what these arguments are about. Finally, we are back to a lot of specification up front, and then we're going to build better. And the whole agile thing was invented because people didn't want to spend and they were not good at specifying. And now we're back to specification. Yes, we're back to specification. I think that's not bad. It's good. If we can automate it and write a good specification and have more documentation, brilliant. But I don't think this is what agile was about. I think agile was about incremental adding of the value. I think in Spořitelna, at least, agile was about turning a traditional 200-year-old institution into something that moves faster, listens to customers better, has probably one of the top 5 digital experiences on this market, which is, this is what agile did to Spořitelna, which brought there was no IT sitting in one building and business sitting in this building, and they kind of occasionally maybe tell to each other something. This is what agile, it brought people together in a more meaningful groups who were less formal and more focused on outcome. And I don't think AI touches that. On contrary, AI gives you even a smaller team that needs to even work closer together and find a way to do it. Does it kill in yes? Does it bring more documentation? Yes. Will it kill a daily stand-up? Probably. Because if we have a team of 3 people, do they really need a stand-up? I'm not sure. But
as long as they talk to each other, they
exactly.
don't.
I don't know, but
No,
maybe you think it's killed agile. Or
No. Look, I'm not
longly waterfall. I don't know.
No. I'm not expert of agile, so
Me neither. You should talk to our coach.
I will not use any agile terminology. I will just share my experience. So because I experienced Poška before it went through the agile transformation. It was back then when on Antala Staška there was only IT, on Trianon there was only business. We were visiting Antala Staška once in a quarter when there was a quarter release. We used to all call it Mordor. Whoever from the team had to come to Mordor more often than once in a quarter was a hero for us.
Came back alive.
Yeah. Then the agile came and the team were built from IT and business together. And they started talking and they started cooperating. It was weird at the beginning. Some IT people are weird. Business are cool. No, it's just a joke. But I think it brought some value. And I gotta tell you one thing. Maybe it will be because of the position of the job description that I'm having. But I have never had more connections, discussion, and dialogues with IT about building something that is valuable than I have with AI. So, in my experience, if Agile has started something in Česká perspective, then AI is accelerating the cooperation in that way. That's my personal experience.
Last thing. You are the biggest bank around. You are doing very interesting things in AI. How is it adopting new technology in such a large company of thousands of people? What are your woes and challenges, and what's still in front of you in terms of the adoption? Not the technology, but culturally, in terms of helping people.
Look, I think there is a lot ahead of us. If the first stage of AI adoption would be called like how many of us are used to use some application around LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, we are quite far. There was some shadow AI even though, but like everywhere. So I think that the first step is there. The second step that we are climbing on, we are there already somewhere not, is to explain and everyone understand AI is not ChatGPT. AI is something much bigger. And back to the beginning, what I was talking about, that it changes how we face the problems. Sometimes what is misunderstood, and it's not Česká problem, it's everyone's problem, is that, let's do AI. And then the managers say, look, I don't have time at the moment. I have the priorities here. This is my backlog approved by a board. I have to, right when I finish it, I will start with the AI, okay? And we're like, no, this is not it. This is like AI is actually a tool that will help you to face the business problems that you have been facing 5 years ago as well. I think, I think we are at the start, and this is ahead of us, the change of the mindset. The technology is not that problem as such. And we are also, of course, upskilling people like how to use the technology, how to test the agent, how to build the agent, and so on. Yeah.
I think, the only thing I would add on that one is really, for us, I think it's the most important to stay flexible, which is it's not the natural state of mind for a bank, right? But the target is moving all the time. Technology is evolving. Target is moving. Today it's this, tomorrow it's going to be this. What we are trying to build today, the whole agentic army, maybe it's going to be obsolete tomorrow because, I don't know, Microsoft is going to release all of this, as part of their suite. And that's it, we're done, So I think staying open-minded and flexible and evolving as we go is a must. And I think for us in a bank, it is kind of like a continuous challenge, because we are not naturally, like, we're regulated. You know, we are for a good reason. You know, we need people to trust us. And that trust requires you to be more careful sometimes than the market moves.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like, I think, but we're all trying to be, and again, I think Spořka is really good at kind of finding the ways to be agile and open-minded and more flexible than some others.
While staying cautious.
While honestly, like, you know, our currency is trust. We can do whatever we want, but we cannot lose the trust of people that are our customers. That's a no-go. So, and that is what we must protect always.
And I think also the quite big challenge that I think everyone is experiencing is that there is too many offers at the moment, you know, like, we will run this use case for you and we will help you with the strategy, and this platform is better and this one is cheaper and so on. I think, you know, everyone,
only consultants are in front of your door.
There's a lot of consultancy, a lot of solutions. Yes. I think this is something that must be overcome. You will never choose the best for the very long period. So just choose Google, Microsoft, whatever that fits your needs, and just bet on it and run, because there are more important things to change in AI tools. Transformation than change the tools.
Exactly.
So, but I see a lot of people spending a lot of time discussing it, and I think neither way is right. Both are okay.
So, last thing, what would you recommend to other leaders who are not as far in the AI adoption in their companies, whether they are small or big? What would be your recommendation?
From my perspective, what I really enjoy is that there is a lot of about, let's have head of AI in a company, have everything concentrated in one person. I have seen some job descriptions. I don't know if these people exist.
Aren't you
on a planet? No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm far from any requirements to, like, even super small companies. So I wouldn't. If I lose a job in Spořka, I'm done. So my take is what I really enjoy is we have it kind of separated. So I'm looking at this, like, let's say the platforms for the use cases around servicings. Somehow pushing the data, some like MS Copilot tools, and how to teach people how to use it, and so this is my agenda. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm super glad that it's split, and like Ines has this like product design. It's a huge domain. She's the leader who realizes that AI will change it. Then we have other colleague like Jarda Richna, who takes care of software engineering. So I think what it demonstrates is that it's natural for you as a leader to think about your domain and how it will be impacted by AI, rather than had one guy who says, you know,
super AI,
new religion like AI. So I think my top take from Spořka, it just happened natural that the responsibility is splitted. And then it can work, because sometimes we go fast, sometimes Ines go fast, and we are challenging each other all the time. So I think it's really a really good approach.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Like, this is not a one man job. This is like a collective effort of different perspectives, different points of view coming together at one and the same problem, one and the same piece of technology, one and the same piece of software, and saying, yeah, but this solves this differently. I think this is really definitely a way to go about it. I think also what we are kind of trying really to do in Spořka for now is be aware as a leader that people are looking at you, and that some people are afraid, some people are skeptical, some people are excited, and it has never been more important to be a leader in a sense to kind of try to make it meaningful for people. Move fast, break things is not a way to go. Honestly.
If it ever was.
And if it ever was. And I think this bro-American tech culture, which is breaking people's lives and thinking that's the way to go about it.
And VC funds.
And that is kind of expanding also here. Like it's not an American thing only. It's really expanding here as well. Is wrong. And this is not a way to lead people through the change. And I think this is where Spořka is showing very different approach. Top down, left, right, all of us, are kind of like trying our best. We're making mistakes. That's for sure. We're not going to do it perfectly. That's for sure. But we're really trying to do it that way. And I think if we're going to lead in this market with something, we're going to probably try to lead with kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an excellent closing. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Karel.
For the invite.
Thank you.